how do you see the significance of this moment? The cynics are saying it's being over romanticized, that, Rishi's made it a second time lucky and only because Boris Johnson withdrew. Others are saying you cannot in any ways undermine, no matter, as I said, what happens next, the import of this moment. What would you say?
In 2002, I was privileged to be awarded Asian of the Year, and it was presented to me by the then Home Secretary, David Blunkett, now Lord Blunkett. And I remember saying in my acceptance speech then that in my lifetime, we would see an Asian as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Well, it's taken 20 years to get there, and we now not only have an Asian, we have a South Asian, we have an Indian origin individual who is now Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I mean, this is wonderful news. There are 1.5 million Indians in the United Kingdom. It's the largest ethnic minority community in the UK, and I can proudly say the most successful, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, and now all the way to the top to becoming Prime Minister. And to think that when I came over to the UK as a student, as a 19-year-old in the 1980s, as a scholar, I was a Tata scholar, I came to study as an impoverished student, and at that time, I was told by my family and friends in India, if you decide to stay on and work after your studies in the UK, you will never get to the top because you will not be allowed to get to the top because as a foreigner, there will be a glass ceiling. And you know what? They were absolutely right at that time, sadly. But now they would be absolutely wrong. In front of my eyes, I've seen that glass ceiling completely shattered. And I think the United Kingdom is now a country where anyone can get anywhere, regardless of race, religion, or background. And Rishi Sunak is a perfect example of it. I mean, I'm the first ethnic minority president of the Confederation of British Industry, the equivalent to the CII in India. I'm the first Indian-born Chancellor of a Russell Group University in the UK, the University of Birmingham. I've created a household name, a brand of beer, Cobra, that is, I would argue, the most famous Indian consumer brand in the UK. And this country has allowed me to do all that, given me the opportunity to do all that. And I think it's something to be celebrated and something I'm very proud of.
And can I ask you briefly, as somebody who, as you said, did struggle, did encounter that racism, was somebody who was born in India and then made it big in Britain, how alive was racism and how much has changed? I mean, how much of it is the end of that sort of racism with this moment of Rishi Sunak's rise, Karan?
Well, we've got to look at this as progress that's been made. If you look at Parliament, when I was at Cambridge in the 1980s, we had a big celebration in 1987 because the first 4 ethnic minority MPs after the war were elected to the House of Commons, and there was 1 in the House of Lords. So there were 5 ethnic minority members of Parliament in 1987. 25 years later, we had a photograph on the steps of Westminster Hall. By then, I joined the House of Lords. I've been there for 16 years. On that photograph, we had 69 ethnic minority members of the House of Lords and House of Commons. Fast forward to 2019, after Boris Johnson's victory, we had another photograph with Rishi Sunak there, Preeti Patel, 100 ethnic minority House of Lords and House of Commons. You do the sums, 100 out of 650 MPs and around 800 Lords is only half the proportion of ethnic minorities in the population in the UK. So we're only halfway there, but we're making phenomenal progress from 5 in 1987 to over 100 today.